you know that this is actually a digital, virtual, probabilistic reality that you're living in. You are actually in a mainframe computer system that works, basically how it works is, I'll tell you very briefly, it's a bit of a secret this, but this is created in real time through a feedback system. We are holographic parts of consciousness, and what we do is we feed back information to the mainframe computer system, which then renders this into real time in every moment when we're here. So in other words, if we weren't here, this would not be rendered into reality. This is the way that the computer itself doesn't have to handle unnecessary computation. So it only handles the computation when we're here to observe it. And this can be checked through the double slit experiment and various experiments that are being built on top of the double slit experiment. Now, the fundamental question is, why on earth was this created? And finally, I have had the most amazing prophetic dream last night where the Creator has finally admitted that this creation was obviously a bit of a mistake. Now, if you don't believe that the creation was a mistake, just look around here. I mean, look at these people here. It was never meant to be like this, guys. Right? So this has clearly gone horribly wrong and pear-shaped, and therefore I would highly recommend that you do not make the same mistake the Creator made and bring more life onto the planet. Okay? What was that, sir?
You have 3 kids.
I have 3 kids, yes, that's true.
What are you doing?
What's so funny about that?
You've got a megaphone out.
I have a megaphone out and I've got 3 kids. Well noticed. I'm glad to see that you're somewhat awake and alert. I mean, relatively speaking. Although I suspect you're probably asleep. What was that, sorry?
Practice what you preach if you're going to be yelling at people.
Practice what I preach. The thing is that my children were born a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah? So now the thing is, people often say to me, practice what you preach, but I'm a vegan now, right? But I used to eat meat. That doesn't mean now that I'm a vegan, I can't sort of discuss the horrors of, of factory farming. I can, even though I was involved in it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So all I'm saying is, look, you can do whatever you like, yes? You can do whatever you like. I'm just part of the voluntary human extinction movement. What we're sort of encouraging people to do is to live well and then just sort of die out, yeah? So all I'm asking is a commitment for as many of you as possible not to bring any more life onto the planet. Can I have just a show of hands? Anybody here prepared? Thank you very much. Fantastic. Thank you. Yes, thank you, thank you. This guy here's got his thumbs down. You're going to have children, are you? Hopefully, okay. Can you just come a little bit closer? We can have a little chat. Come. Next gentleman would like to invite, what's her name? Mathew to the show. Welcome, Mathew, to the show. I'm going to ask you a question, Mathew. Firstly, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, why did your parents have you, Mathew? Okay, whilst I'm asking this question, I'd like you all to think about the question, why did your parents have you? We're going to go around and find out. But we're going to start with Mathew, because Mathew seems to want to have children of his own, which is a very common but extremely deluded and insane idea, right? And we're going to try and get to the bottom of this. We're going to start with trying to find out, why did your parents have you, Mathew? Why did your parents have you? Do you know? No, don't give me this all life reproduces. I want you to answer me the question, why did your parents have you? Not all life reproduces. Some people do not have children. For example, anybody here not have any children? Yes? There you go. So these people have not reproduced yet, right? They are very young, that's true, and let's hope that they stay, young in that way. But anyway, I'm asking you why your parents reproduced. Why did they do it? Because they wanted children. Why did they want children? Oh, interesting answer. They wanted children because children bring happiness. Oh, do they really?
No, they don't.
Really? Do they bring happiness?
Okay,
now look, I don't deny, as a father of 3, that my children do bring me a huge amount of happiness, but they also bring me other things as well, like debt, right? Anxiety, anger, despair, confusion, right? Now look, if you're saying that your parents had you because children bring happiness, that's an extremely selfish reason to have children. I mean, think of that, ladies and gentlemen, let's help this guy, Mathew, realise the alternatives of what his parents could have done instead of having him if they wanted to bring happiness. I say that your parents could have got themselves a really nice big flat screen TV and they could have gone on holiday to Cyprus. That also brings happiness, does it not? Because they didn't ask you before they brought you here. They just brought you here to bring happiness. Why is that a false dichotomy? Oh, they've got the TV and the holidays already. Well, they could have done 100 things to bring happiness. But surely that is not a reason to bring a child here. Number one, because that's not the only thing children do. Number two, because the children grow out to be adults and they kind of grow up to be like the people around here, which is a bit worrying, to be honest. Matthew, why do you want to have children? You want to further civilization, really? Okay, so now my question is, why do you want to further civilization, and why do you think that your specific children are going to actually further civilization? What makes you think that? Because your children, for all you know, may not be able to further civilization, and aren't you putting them under a huge amount of pressure by bringing them into this crazy world, which doesn't really make any sense to many of us, certainly not to me, on sometimes, yeah? You're bringing into this world and you're putting them under this huge pressure that they're going to further civilization. Can I ask you, let's have a look around here, how many people have been really successful at furthering civilization? Yes? How exactly have you furthered civilization? Okay, who else put their hands up? Anyone else? Anyone else been really successful furthering civilization? Why do you think that your children are going to be more able to further civilization than these people here? Yes, you did. You said you're bringing your children in to further civilization, but you realise that your child could be someone like Theresa May. Do you realise that?
No.
It's possible, isn't it?
No.
Yes, that's right.
Having children is not an evil thing to do, and I hear it quite often nowadays, more and more, that people should stop having children and stop reproducing, and I just think that's very selfish and it's not a very forward-thinking approach, because obviously if the best of us didn't have children, then there would be no civilization in the future.
Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, fair enough. By the way, I just want to thank Matthew for being brave enough to sort of stand up to me, because I'm quite, I'm quite sort of loud on myself. So thank you very much for sharing your ideas. And I'm not saying that you're right, I'm wrong, you're right. Yeah, but I do question why you would want to have children. You claim that you want to have children to further civilization, and I say back to you, if you want to further civilization, why waste your time bringing up a child and taking a risk because your child may not be able to save civilization? Instead, why don't you do your part and spend your time bettering civilization without having to change nappies and send your kid to school and all that stuff that your kid's going to have to deal with? Your child's going to have to deal with going to a government indoctrination prison, which is basically what school is. Yeah? You're going to send your child to school, aren't you? What chance have your child got? I've got an 11-year-old child in school that gets told off for not having his top button done up, right? He gets told off for wearing the wrong pair of shoes. Use all your skills that you've got to help people think for themselves, if you indeed do have those skills, to work with the adults. Don't waste your time having children and bring them up and changing their nappies and waking up in the middle of the night. Why bother?
People are most easily influenced when they're young, like 0 to 5 years old, and then beyond that 0 to 5 to say 12. And also people tend to listen to others who are like themselves. Obviously, if you're genetically related, it's the most related you could possibly be. So that if you want to make the best possible influence you can on another human life, the best chance you have is to make one yourself and to give it very intimate guidance from a young age. If you try to approach adults or late stage adolescent children and try to guide their life, it's extremely difficult to do, and you're just as likely to make wrong decisions.
Well, I can tell you from my experience as a father, you have no experience as a father, so you have literally no idea what it's like, really. You have no idea what it's like, right? And I can tell you from my own experience as a father, yeah, you're right, they learn those from 0 to 5, yeah? But the system that you're in, right? I mean, for example, what how old are you? Do you mind asking? I never know these days. 31, okay. Do you work? Yeah, what do you do? Do you mind asking? Okay, so you're in sales, right? If you have a child, you realise it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of pounds over the life of the child, right? So you are not going to be around the first 5 years of their lives. You're going to send them to playgroup, where they're going to be indoctrinated and before playgroup, you're going to put them in front of some kind of screen, unless you are extremely disciplined. You're going to put them in front of a screen, and before long, Uncle Caesar's going to have his dirty fingers on their minds, and going to show them all sorts of nasty stuff. And by the time your children are 10, if they're anything like my children and most people, other children today, they're going to be glued to Instagram. And you're going to have no say in the matter at all, mate. If you do choose to have children, you're going to have to stick in that sales job. You probably have to make more money. Your partner's going to have to work. It's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of pounds. You have no guarantee that the child that comes out is necessarily going to have all the right genes. He might unfortunately get your not so wonderful genes, and he might get the genes that are not so wonderful. No, don't mean that. That's not all. We've all got genes. None of us are perfect. Somebody had Theresa May. She's a proper hardcore criminal. She has parents, unfortunately. And if her parents would have taken the precautions, then we would be subjected to that horrible old woman. Imagine if conception was like 10 times more painful than birth. I wonder how many people would have children then. Imagine if when you were conceiving a child, you actually felt all the pain that person was going to feel over their lives. All the dental pain and the illness and the upset and the madness and the depression and the anxiety. And you felt it all during the conception. Yeah, I wonder how many children do you think you'd have, sir? If you felt the pain of birth, just the pain of birth alone, when you conceive. Not many, would you? No.